as much as landing a $40 million aircraft on a bobbing sort of speck of light. So when you get up to do exercises, when you stand up in front of a group of people, you are asking because your body has a limbic system, your adrenal cortex, so everything sort of works together to prevent death. Unfortunately, we are faced with death almost never in this society. You're never like, you know, you're not running from bears and wild animals and tribes with machetes trying to kill you or anything. You know, we're just like, oh my God, I miss Gilmore Girls. And, you know, and so our adrenal, it's about training your adrenal system not to react, training it to go, because when it reacts, it wants to fight or kill. Both bad choices while acting. Unless your character has to fight and kill, in which case you can use it. But that energy of being nervous never goes away. I was nervous, they got me over at the alumni house over there, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got to go do my acting panel. I'm terrified. Moments before I come into a group like this, I'm scared. And then you guys are all nice, and I don't have to kill you or run away. And I tell my adrenal system, I'm like, relax, they're not going to hurt, except this one.
As Reaver and Shane Michaels had him as Kamui, was it fun just kind of putting up with like all of his yelling and shit?
He is, that's just like him and I in real life. No, J. Michael and I get along very well, but that was a fun show to do.
It's my favorite.
Now it's my favorite for the next 3 seconds.
When was the last part you had to work for, and when was one that you just got called up and he's like, hey, we want you to do this?
The last one I just got called in to do was a character for Space Dandy. I play an alien plant. It is. It's like an Audrey too. It's like a Little Shop of Horrors thing. And that's quite a show, Space Dandy. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, wow.
It's pretty freaking awesome. And one that I had to work for really hard. The last film role I got was a movie called Parkland, which was produced by Tom Hanks and starred Paul Giamatti and Billy Bob Thornton and Zac Efron. And my scene was with Paul Giamatti, and there were like 3 parts that were in my. I drove to Austin 6 times to audition for it, and I auditioned for the part I really wanted, 3 times, and then they gave it to my buddy Jeff Schmidt. And then I auditioned for the second part I really wanted, and then they gave it to a friend of mine who's a casting director up in Oklahoma. And then I got the third part, which was okay, but not as good as the other 2. The other 2 I knew couldn't be cut out of the movie because of where they were in the narrative. The third part I was like, that's gonna get cut. Because you can kind of tell it was a repetition of the narrative and they could trim it down. So I'm in the movie for like 2 seconds. But I worked really hard to be in that movie for 2 seconds. Yes, Becky?
What influenced you to do voice acting?
Brad Jackson. My buddy Brad Jackson was like, hey, they're auditioning for Dragon Ball Z over at this bank building in North Richland Hills. You should go audition. And I was like, okay. And then I almost didn't go. And this is one of those situations where I had like a flat tire and my day was horrible, my bank account was overdrawn, my hamster died. But it was a horrible day and I almost went, forget it! Acting is stupid! I didn't audition at all. And then at the last minute I went, I better audition for this. And I did. And 15 years later, I'm like, I'm really glad I didn't quit. Because sometimes these opportunities come up and you just have to know that this is an opportunity and you have to know this is the time I have to go for it. And the key components to succeeding in anything, whether it's acting or brain surgery, well, maybe not brain surgery, because the key component would make brain surgery. The key component is failing. You don't want to fail at brain surgery. Let me try! But you want to fail at getting into medical school, you want to fail at, doing your paper, just fail quickly, because a lot of times you prevent yourself from doing something because you think, I'm going to fail at it if I try. And it's like, well, yes, of course you're going to fail. That's the key component to succeeding, is failing at it first. Nobody skips that failure step. We have a process in acting for controlled failure. It's called rehearsal. And we fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, and then you get an audience, and then you fail some more, and you need proper costumes, and you keep failing, and then suddenly you start succeeding a little bit. You're like, oh, this is going pretty good now. So failure is not to be avoided. Failure is to be embraced and sort of driven headlong into. So if you're like, I really want to start like a podcast where I talk about action figures, and you go, okay, we'll do it. No, because I can't do it right. Yeah, that's right, you can't. So go fail at it until you do it right. And once you give yourself permission, and I'm giving you permission, once you give yourself permission to fail, it's so much easier to succeed. Yes?
If somebody told you you had to spend the rest of your career doing either voice work or live work, which one would you pick?
Theater. I would do live theater, hands down. And I would still go to conventions. Because honestly, the best part about voice work is coming to the conventions. Doing the booth work is fun. It's you know, it's hard work. It's technical. There's a lot of sort of technical aspects to it. But like this is live performing. I'm very comfortable in front of a group of people and working on stage, especially like a Shakespeare play. I could do that for the rest of my life. I have a buddy of mine who's a stunt coordinator and stunt actor / actor out in LA, and he's been in all the Pirates movies, and he's a big time stunt guy. Bless you. And he and I want to start a Shakespeare festival out in Victor, Idaho, just across the pass from, I can't remember the name of the fancy rich people town that's across the pass, but that to me would be like a goal, to live the rest of my life in the mountains and nature doing Shakespeare. And then flying out to anime conventions.
So apparently you like Shakespeare. Which one is your favorite of his sonnets?
Of his sonnets? Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love that alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. It is the star to every wandering bark. I don't remember that. My best friend's wedding. Yes.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Has there ever been like a voice that you've ever wanted to use for a character, but you just haven't had the opportunity?
Yes, it's this one. He's like a really old British roadie. Like,
It's the Monty Python.
Yeah, it's very Monty Python. I should have a fake nose and a hump.
They call him Christy, my other actor friends. They're like, pull Christy out.
Yes.
And so then they tootle me around as Christy.
Yes, I would like to get you some water. This is the bad water.
I haven't had an opportunity to use that yet. Someday. Yes.
Which one of Shakespeare's plays is your favorite?
I just did Taming of the Shrew, and I adapted it into a screenplay that I'm about 3/4 of the way through. And I played Petruchio, and I shall play Petruchio again in the film when I produce this, hopefully. Films take a lot. When you get into film work, you have to start thinking in terms of like a month is like a year in film terms. So it's like, oh, I'll work on that this year. And then maybe next year or the year after I can get to getting it done. Because once you get a couple of film projects going, which I have going, you're like, oh, this is going to take up all of 2014. This forearm right here, I don't know why. It's a very demanding forearm. Get to work! Yes?
Okay, so first, all your voice acting is very amazing. But I have to ask, how do you find the voices you want to use for all the characters? How long does that take you?
11 seconds. Yeah, in general, what happens is you'll go in and you'll listen to the director and he'll be like, well, this is sort of he said kind of, and then they play the Japanese and you're like, okay, and then you kind of start in the same vein as the Japanese, and then the director will go, no, bump that down, no, a little higher tone, no, how about make him more gruff? Yeah, a little more gravel, and well, that's it, now he's ready. Now he's ready to be an evil turtle. Someone get the monkey out of here.
Okay.
Yes, my lady.
What's your favorite Disney movie?
I don't know. They're all Pixar. Is Pixar Disney now? So does that count?
Yeah.
Classic Disney?
Yeah, like Beauty and the Beast and like Cinderella.
Mulan.
Mulan.
Yeah.
Mulan.
I don't know. Probably Lion King.
Punch
Because I saw that with my wife when she was just my girlfriend and my ex-girlfriend was in line behind her.